see if we can get some people back on here. Okay, we had that live stream timeout. We couldn't switch it to horizontal mode, so anybody checking in, come right back here, and hopefully that's easy to see. Let's go ahead and just take like 5 minutes and get some people back in here. I guess you can't switch it once you already start a stream, so I don't know if we could have done that anyways. Oh, that's this. Nice. Okay, so extra bonus feature on the back here that I wasn't aware about is this Voyager model here. So we'll talk about this while people get back in for the Renogy live stream. So this Voyager model on the back here has smart PWM technology. It's high efficiency. So this is going to allow for high efficiency charging through the solar panel here, high efficiency output. It's got a backlit LCD display, so that'll help you see it at night, not just during the day. LED bar for easy to read state change of battery. So it's got LED indicators on here that'll tell you if you have your batteries plugged straight into this, how well those are charged. It's got a waterproof design, so you could use this, you can use this indoor, but it's also good for outdoor as well. And then this has a 5-stage charging. This is actually really nice. This is another little bonus charger I wasn't ready for. Right back here, this will monitor its own battery. It's got 5 stages of charging. So when you have multiple stages of charging like this, you can charge different kinds of batteries. So you're talking about like absorbed glass mat or lithium batteries, not just old lead acid batteries that you would have in like an old vehicle. So that's really nice, multiple stage charging. You can hook this obviously straight to those, and this is its own little charging monitor. So this monitor as well is gonna protect. That's good because you don't want to fry your solar panel or your batteries if you hook them up backwards. Pretty hard to do that, and you got to be careful on the battery end usually whenever you're talking about reverse polarity. So, all right, welcome back. Anybody who's joining for the Renogy live stream? Do we have anybody here? Okay, great, good. Okay, we had to restart the stream to get it to go sideways. I'm glad that somebody suggested that. It was a good suggestion because I was trying to figure out how to do that earlier, and I think the video will be a little bit better quality sideways, so we'll spend a little bit extra effort on that. Okay, so with that also, let's check out this. I didn't know this was even inside of there. It looks like we got some cables. Nice. Oh, cool. This is super cool. I wasn't expecting this. Okay. I'm talking about like, oh, you got to be careful, reverse polarity. I was thinking it was a little unfounded. Not with these. That's why they mention it, because these are really cool. You can reverse polarity these a little bit easier if you touch them together, or it's just easier to hook these up wrong because they're just alligator clamps. But I'm excited. It has a fuse built in, so if you do, here's the extra reverse polarity protection. You're gonna blow this fuse before you mess up anything downline of this. You just replace that. So talk about extra protection. But this, I'm talking about, you can just hook straight into your solar panel and clamp up to a battery, and this is going to charge your battery. So we don't want to lose that. That's going to keep this protected from that reverse polarity. So I don't do that. That's how you do it. The reverse polarity thing. So cool. This hooks up, like I said, you can't really mess this up. You got your ground and your positive right here, and then I'm keeping this around because this can recharge a battery. This is all you need to recharge a car battery. That's super cool. Back in my day when I was a kid, I remember like the battery charging boxes, and I never understood how they worked and what setting to set them to. This stuff's all got it built in. So a lot of stuff like people complain about, like, oh, the technologies like gets into stuff and what's the need? Like, well, this is the need. Like, makes it way more accessible for anybody. Now people who want to use this, like I said earlier, on their boat or on their RV, or just get this to go expand their, their setup, you don't have to know a ton of stuff about wiring to be able to use these. So pretty accessible for just anybody to use. Again, this puts out 200 watts. It's got smart smart panels in here. Let me see what those are called, PMMW or something. Panels, but that's the particular acronym for the smart panels that are monitoring which ones are actually receiving light and providing power to those, and not just, you know, cutting out power, because half the solar panel, like you could see now, is in shade, and on some solar panels, when you obscure just one of them, it'll cut the voltage out of all of them. So that's extra good. See what it was called. It's gonna be right in this one. MPPT. MPPT is what that acronym's called, and that's maximum power point tracking technology. I'm glad I remember that. Maximum power point tracking, like I said, some solar panels are like what you would call like dumb, like these are smart solar panels, and that's because you're just pulling energy out of the sections that are getting the best energy. So I'm talking, that's not just good for like what I'm doing right here, or for like if you set it up and you don't want to move it as the sun tracks across the sky, it'll do that by itself. It'll pull the most power out of the ones that are getting the most power as the sun hits them at a better angle. But I'm talking, if you get dust on it as well. This thing is like water resistant, IP67, and dust resistant. Again, you don't want to just like submerge these in water. These are nice stuff, but if it gets like some sprinkles on it, some dew and stuff on it, it's not gonna ruin this one. So that's super nice, made to be outside. And again, we got that nice and sunny now. This thing's, let me see, my back, 601. That might be just a code though. We'll get this hooked up to something in a little bit and see how this does. Cool, we'll go ahead and pack this up for a minute. That's good. Let's go ahead and look at that other battery and these charging setups, and then we'll look at how we're gonna put this into this big truck. This is my mobile mechanic setup truck. And so Renogy Power is doing their best sale of the year right now. So check out the links in the description if you want to check out that deal. There's no better time of the year to do it, and there's also an extra live stream deal right now. So make sure you check out the description after the stream if you want to check out all the rest of these awesome products. They've got even more on their website. Pretty much everything on their website's on sale, up to 55% off. That's insane. Some of these products I have out here are over 50% off. Most of them are over 25% off. That's crazy. That's like real Black Friday. Back in the day, you know, nobody's really doing Black Friday type deals anymore. This is like real good deals. So people who have been looking at getting like a battery bank set up, going off grid, having some extra power generation or power storage, this is the great time to do it. Super easy to set up again. These legs are nice, I'm not joking. Nice aluminum. Easy. Wow, this is really nice. Easy to set up. It weighs about as much as this other 200-watt solar panel. If I had to say, maybe this portable one is a little bit heavier, maybe by like half a pound. They're really, really similar. So I'd say these are both really nice options. You can check online and see all the details though. They'll even specify the weights of their products and everything. They have other options as well, like this is a 200-watt solar panel. I know they have Suitcase styles that are 100 watts. I know they have some flexible kinds you can roll up. So again, I was mentioning earlier, they have teardrop shaped campers, those little small campers that go behind cars. The flexible ones can go right on the top of that. If you secure them well, then I'm sure you can charge all the time out of that. I get my breath back. Okay, so let's actually look at this charger. This one I'm like most excited about. I don't know, I'm excited about all of these things. This one's really cool though, and I kind of mentioned earlier why it's particularly interesting. And I think we might have a helicopter for the hospital coming in just a second, so it might get a little loud, but it'll stop quickly. Okay, oh, this is the charger. Oh no, that's that. Okay, so here's the dual input. That's why I say dual input. This is super cool. The dual input DC to DC charger, battery charger, system maintainer. This is 50 amps. They have a 30 amp option as well. The 50 amp one comes with a bigger fuse because obviously it's 50 amps, so I think you get a 60 amp fuse, and the 30 amp comes with a 40 amp fuse maybe. So this is where you need the fuse, and the system is with this here. It actually comes with a few different things. We'll look at a few of these. We'll get going through the rest of these quickly, and then we'll look at how to put these in the truck here. Maybe do some Q&A if people have any questions about these products. Put those in the comments. We'll go through this battery in a second and talk about those extra features. Okay. Perfect. Oh, that's what I was grabbing. So this one we have, and I say this one, I'm hesitating because we have some battery temperature sensors in this kit, and the battery temperature sensor can either go with this. You can have them with either. Honestly, I'm saying either because it doesn't have to be one or the other. And with lithium batteries, you don't even need a battery temperature sensor. You can still put one in, but you don't actually need one for it to be charged perfectly through these charging systems. But like if you have other, like I said, these will work with all sorts of different battery types. You don't want to mix them though. If you have a battery bank that you're charging, you don't want to put lithium batteries with some other form of deep cycle battery. You just want to use all Renogy deep cycle batteries, the lithium iron phosphate, whatever brand you're using. And then this will either this will charge it and maintain it, or this will charge it and maintain it. This one I'm going to use, I'll probably put both onto the system, but this one's going to be running mostly with the truck because this one can run an alternator with it. We're going to need a screwdriver to pop this open, and we'll look at the connections inside here, and I'll talk about how this one is going to run all of the charging and power systems in this truck mostly. And I'll talk about how this one gets wired up, and I'll probably still wire it up into the truck, but it will be like if you've ever seen on the side of RVs or something where there's like a power socket and you can plug an extension cord into. That's what this one would be for. Like if you're plugging in wall power 120 volts and trying to charge your 12 volt batteries, you would use this inverter. If you're using 12 volts from your alternator, and this one will even work with smart alternators, we'll talk about that in a second. But if you're using your alternator that's already 12 volts and solar, because these solar panels are 12 volts, then you can use this, and it's super cool. Let me grab a screwdriver and you can get a closer look at that video. You can show me wherever you want. Get some more weight. See if I have a screwdriver that's on here. Thought I did. There it is. That's another reason why I can't wait to get the big truck running again, is I don't have to keep all my tools in a bucket. So this is a big step in making sure the truck is reliable. So we'll go ahead and open up here. There's a few things we'll have to open up. on these. This one, this inverter also, and I'll show you the connections on that. And this one you hook the solar panels up to, and I want to mention it again, when you have a solar panel and you're hooking it up to your system, you can't hook it up without a battery already being in the system. So you can't hook up the solar panels first, basically, is what that means. You hook up the solar panels last, always. The cool thing about this, though, the other awesome thing that I was not expecting, is all of the grounds are the same. So we're talking right here is your positive from your solar panels, and this is the positive from your motor. You can have a smart alternator, and it even comes with the wire for that. That's what I believe. No, this is the battery temperature sensor right here. That would make this wire the smart alternator wire. So if you have an alternator that doesn't run 14 volts consistently, a newer alternator that relies on a motor signal, this will even work with one of those vehicles. Mine's not going to be that. And if you look on the side here, all of these extra plugins are for, we're talking about battery temperature sensor. This is the ignition signal for the battery. You can change, this little button changes the battery type. The LED will blink and tell you if you have it set to your right mode, so you need your manual for that. And then this will hook up to Bluetooth monitoring module right here. So when I was talking about like, oh, like there's a lot of Bluetooth involved in this Renogy stuff, they have a lot of technology involved in their equipment, which is super nice. This battery itself has its own Bluetooth built in, so you can get the app on your phone and just check the status of this battery all the time. It has its own Bluetooth. So, well, again, that's whenever it's powered on. They have their own shutoffs inside so they don't drain themselves and ruin the batteries. Okay, we've got a Bluetooth monitor that'll do the same thing with the app right here. I can pull it out. And that'll plug in right here. So if it's hard to imagine, I understand. Basically, just imagine this is sitting somewhere inside the truck. It can be hidden or not. And you have this all wired up. So your batteries are charging, your solar panels plugged in or whatever, and your car is on or off. So this can monitor the batteries in your vehicle. It has smart charging, so it can say, hey, we're getting current from the battery in the vehicle. Let's take that and put it into the deep cycle if there's extra current. This thing's super smart. And then with this plugged in, you can just get on your phone and see what all of that's doing at once. So you don't have to have a great understanding of wiring to have one of these systems to install it. You just want to read through the manuals, and you might just ask for some help from a wiring professional if you want to. But with the technology involved, you saw the alligator clamps to charge the battery. You just have to know when you're looking at your battery, it's even labeled with red and black which one's positive and which one's negative. The technology makes this super easy for anybody to use. So, and this is just another piece of that'll show you even on your phone. You don't even have to be touching any of the system, but it does have its own display that we'll talk about if you do want to have something manual like that. So you got tons of options with this. Again, one of the cool things about Renogy is just like the technology and the progression they're putting into their stuff, and they've been around for a while, so it's top of the line stuff. It's not just stuff that's been out for a while. Okay, let's pull out this other side. I'll show you that, where you hook up that ground and then the power to your battery station. And oh, the other thing I was going to say is, before I understood what this was, I was going to, you can back up a little if you want, I was going to buy a couple of relays or a relay to do the job of this, when I was talking about like, oh, I wanted to have this deep cycle battery over here as a battery bank in this truck. but I want to have a relay in the system to where when the truck is shut off, I'm not pulling current out of the battery that needs to start the truck, because then if I'm, you know, running all my tools or whatever, the batteries die, I won't be able to start the truck when it's time to leave. I want something that cuts the power to that battery so it stays charged and I'm just using the other battery. So I was going to do that with relays until I realized this is already doing all of that. It knows when there's extra power and extra current coming through here, it'll charge the vehicle battery for you if that's low on charge, but it's not going to pull charge out of the vehicle battery to try and run power tools or whatever if you have them plugged into the system. So super cool. And I'm talking about like the battery bank as a system. Oh yeah, and that's it. So again, here you hook all your negatives up to the same. You can scoot it closer again if you want. So you can hook all your grounds up to the same. Then you would hook up your battery bank here, your vehicle battery, and always last, the solar panel. And you would hook the ground up for the solar panel and the power up for here. The ground for the solar panel would also go there. So, oh cool. Also on this, it has a heat sink on the back, so you don't really have to worry about it. And it also mounts up onto something. So there's a little bit of space from the heat sink, so you don't have to worry about that transferring heat. And it's got these it's nice aluminum plating, its own mounting holes and brackets, so built in, super nice. That's something that I'm definitely gonna have to mount up in the truck somewhere. So we'll see, maybe chat can help find a good spot for that. We'll go inside the truck here in a minute. So this is the charging monitor that particularly you would want in something with an alternator. So we're talking RVs, some higher end boats, some boats. If you do these in boats, you just need to make sure you protect against corrosion. But these are water resistant, and in a nice boat you should be able to use these. So if you're running something again off of 110 volt power, which would look like an RV with like a plug in the side or whatever, then you'll need this inverter. And we can look at that real quick. I guess I didn't need to put that on super tight, but I don't want to lose those screws. Okay, so with this inverter, it comes with a remote control, basically. It's wired remote control. So we've got this long wire. This is a really big, nice 3000 watt inverter. When I talked about that battery sensor, you can use it with either that charging monitor. I'll pull it back out. Or you can use it with this inverter. Again, with these lithium batteries, it's not necessary, but we could still put it on. It's just not necessary to monitor the charge of the batteries. As far as I understand, always put a nice fuse in on the positive side of whichever system you're using, whether it's this or that. And this remote will turn this inverter on or off, so I can mount this somewhere in the truck that's easy to access. And then I can mount this inverter somewhere else that's a little bit more hidden. I think I'm gonna build some like sort of shelving in the truck to, you know, slide some jacks in, maybe have some tools on the next shelf. I'm sure there'll be some inverters or something in the back there where the space isn't super necessary, and that's just gonna be a better use of the space. That's honestly right behind here inside this truck for how I'm using it. Also, that brings me to that bigger battery bank. Whenever we're installing that, I'm gonna need to figure out where that's going, because both of these are about 20 inches long, I believe, and about 10 inches wide. We'll get some measurements in and see exactly where we can put those. So we've got the remote that turns these on and off, and this inverter will take 120 volts, 119 volts. That typically comes out of a power socket, and it will turn it into a perfect charge for your batteries. So when I've used inverters in the past, and the inverter I have in the truck's kind of worked in the opposite, where I've had a battery bank system or batteries that are working in the truck, have some charge in them, and I want to run tools off of them, and I want to plug tools into the battery, so they would take the 12 volts and turn it into 110 volts. This is doing the opposite. We'll pull the cover off and see. I don't think there's an option to pull 110 volts back out of this from the batteries, but there might be an in and out on that side, so we'll look at it. This can always hold charge, so you got to be careful taking the covers off of this, even if it's not hooked into a battery. As far as I'm aware, it hasn't been plugged in yet, but I'm sure it's been tested, so I don't want to go digging my fingers in there. Behind here is the negative battery connection and the positive battery connection, so we're talking about like 12 volts right here. It's still connected to a high voltage coil that's going to be in there, the electromagnetic coil. That's the inverter. Behind here, I guess that is an in and out. To me, it kind of looks like it is 110 volts. So if we have a little three-prong setup, it looks like we can do in and out on this. And we're talking about 3,000 watt sine wave inverter. So this is like top of the line inverter. I was looking at the pricing on these. First off, Renogy's pricing is great, but their sales right now are the best time of the year. And some of their stuff's like 55% off. So if anybody's interested in getting any sort of Renogy products, right now is the time of the year to do it. It's the best deals of the year. They don't get better. And this one particularly was like a deal that I was super impressed with. Let's pull this cover off. I just had my screwdriver and check out what's actually behind here, because I'm interested to know what kind of 120 volt, if we have an output on this. I wasn't exactly sure from checking the manual, so there's just a few screws we got to undo.
They're so cute.
Yeah, and this will keep all the larger, more important electrical connections hidden here. That's why we had the cover on the other charger as well. When you have a more important connection that needs to stay well connected, can't come loose, shouldn't be touched for multiple reasons. When you're talking about 12 volts, there's not as much of a risk of electrocution, although there is still a risk. But you're talking about like shorting it out with a piece of metal that can damage the battery or explode, or just overheat the metal and cause a burn, which is why you don't wear metal rings and stuff around batteries. But when you're talking about 110 volts, you can seriously get shocked in there too. So oh, we do have in and out. Oh, I'm excited. I'm double excited now. So this is in and out. When I'm talking about in and out, these little white things here, I was thinking we just had in, right? Output, input. Yeah, exactly. When I saw both of these, I was looking a little closer. I was excited. So this means I can run power tools straight off of the, show right here, when I saw both of these, and that too, straight off of the battery bank that I have. Let me borrow this for a second. I'll show you the one that I have. And this one's much better. Let's see. So under here, I forgot I had it hidden, is an inverter. And it has some plugs in it. That's what I was trying to do at the same time. So that's a much less quality inverter. It's a lower quality inverter, the one that I have in there. So this one's great to have, this nice new one. Now I can run actually like actual power tools in there. Like you saw, maybe you saw, I don't think you did, there's a heater running in there. That's just running off of a different power cord that I have running in there, just an extension cord, because the inverter that I have in there, it wouldn't be strong enough to power something like that. This one would though. This is 3,000 watts. It could power 2 of those inverters, which is 1,500 watts at most. I think it realistically probably puts out like 1,100. So that's super exciting. Looking down here, I'll just kind of describe then how, what do we have, an on and off switch? Nice. So this on and off switch, I don't want to stick my hand too far down there. We'll just power on and off the whole device. I'm not going to touch anything metal inside there. If you look down through the top though, these red and black pins right there, let's touch that one, and right there, that's where you hook up your batteries to. So your 12 volt batteries, that's the positive, that's the negative. Honestly, touching one of those is fine. And you can see that there's just a nut on there. So you want to make sure your connection's clean and tight, and then you'll run your batteries straight to there. And then this is where you would need the help of a wiring expert if you're not comfortable yourself, is running an in and out power socket right here. But you could run, just when I'm talking about like an extension cord, you could run a power cable when you're talking about, we'll see right here, your ground, and your ground, your earth, and your neutral and your L right there. You got 3 wires inside of an extension cord. That's what I'm talking about. So you're charging your batteries whenever you've got some power going in, and if you need it, I guess I did that backwards, you've got power coming out. So in and out, that's great. This turns 110 volts into 12 volts basically. Super pure quality. This again is like 5 stages of charging. So this will charge any type of high quality battery and low quality battery, but it'll also charge, importantly, the Renogy batteries in a group. Let's go ahead and pull out that smaller battery. It's a little bit different than that bigger battery, but when I was talking about some of those features of that bigger battery in the other live stream, they apply to this smaller one also. Let me slide this in here. Wiring expert. There we go. I don't want to lose these keys. Let me start these. Not just Bluetooth though, that's the one I keep bringing up about that smaller battery, is it does have its own Bluetooth built in, which just keeps like blowing my mind. That a battery can have its own Bluetooth. You can just get on an app and look and see how your battery's doing, if it's charging, if it's done charging, what the status of the battery is. That's really important for people like in off-grid living, van life, RVs. You really rely on battery power a lot more than I would, like if I came back and one of my tools didn't work, it might not be the end of the day, or I might just charge my tools or swap some batteries out or whatever. But off-grid living, you really need higher quality products. So Renogy is a great brand. And I've been looking at these products. I've had them for a couple of weeks. I've been doing a ton of investigating. Super high quality. That's why I said, like, one of the first things I said, they started in LSU in 2010. They've been around, and 2010 in Louisiana, what was that, Hurricane Katrina? Like, you know, there was like a serious pressing issue around that time in the area. It's not just like an issue that people were thinking of because they wanted to, but because they needed to. So you're going to get better quality products that really suit lifestyles out of that type of motivation. So anyways, these are tight enough. Let's look at this smaller battery, and let me pull out its manual. That was an extra interesting one. What time is it, do you know? Probably like 10:10. Oh well. Okay. Let me put this front and center. The remote control on that inverter charger is awesome too.
10:05.
Okay, great. I'm just pretty close. And so we'll have to look at that inside, the remote on that. Once we look at this, let's look at this. And then when we start to kind of like figure out how I'm going to install these solar panels and stuff, I'll talk about this one. That one pretty much had all the same features though. And I got to climb up there to slide it up and see. There's some aluminum bars going across the top of the truck. So this one has some nice mounting options. I'll flip it around and talk about it when we get there, but I'll probably have to build a couple of brackets for a few things that I'm going to mount. But again, that's when we come back to like this. It's not that this stuff doesn't come equipped with its own bracketing. Look at this right here. This is built into the frame of the inverter itself. They've got their own mounting holes, so it can mount up super solid. There's just some other things that I want to do because I'm gonna have to make sure it's waterproof on the roof and some things like that. I might have to build some shelving. Okay, super interesting things about this battery. This one was cool. This one's 100 watt hours. What are we saying? Amp hours. 1280 watt hours. So this is an automotive style battery putting out 100 amps. What do we have? Some discharge current. 100 amp discharge current, yeah, rated capacity 100 amp. So 100 amp battery. It's a nice battery, something that I'm gonna put in this truck for sure, or maybe just So no, it'll probably be in this truck because I'll have all of the charging equipment and the other Renogy deep cycle battery in this truck already. So for sure gonna go ahead and run this. Again, this thing has 5,000 cycles of life, so that's a ton. Has 60 protections built in, so this one has a few built in. This one has 60 built in, so this one has a ton of technology in the top here. This one really has a dust cover up top. I'm sure that's where the Bluetooth module and stuff are located as well. So real time through the DC Home app. Renogy has their own DC Home app. Real time monitoring. So if this battery is on, I talked about earlier how they have built-in safeties. You can see the leads of the battery exposed right there. You don't ever want to short those by touching two pieces of metal between them. But if you do and these batteries have been off, they should have protections built in to prevent that. They will turn on though. The chargers are cool. They have like a signal built into them. Whenever you start needing to charge them, it wakes the battery up essentially. So they're turned off when they're not being used to prevent from over discharge. That's where the over discharge protection comes from. And that's super nice because you don't want to kill your batteries. That'll stop them from ever dying. And that's how you get close to those 5,000 cycles of life. That's a ton. RV use, yeah, this one's good for RV use. That's where a lot of those 60 protections come in. When I was talking earlier about that other battery, you have a lot more electrical load in RVs, so these are built for those. Particularly have extra protections built in. This one has self-heating, so if it's under 41 degrees, it'll warm up to 41 degrees while it's charging. Anytime it's under 41 degrees, it might need to do that right now. It's pretty cold out here. There's been snow on the ground for like a week, so I had it warmed up this morning. I don't know if we'll get it charged into any sort of solar panel by the time I'm done, but if I do and it's under 41 degrees, this will warm itself up. It's not rare that batteries, yeah, it is pretty rare that batteries have like self-heating things in them. There are a few that have them, which makes them rare, but the ones that do are always like the best quality. Like, just, it's an extra feature that is going to protect the battery, the life of your battery. I have some battery boxes, not all come with built-in heating, some do, and it's always the best brands, and obviously Renogy is one of the best brands. So yeah, self-control fuses, again, we're talking about reverse polarity protection, or when you wire this up, again, you put the fuse in on that power side, but this has some fuses built in. Those aren't good to trip inside of the batteries though, so you don't want to reverse polarity them, but if you do, you're not going to explode your battery, and you might not completely ruin it either. It's just not good for it. Okay, yeah, best in class capacity and expansion, 105 amps actually. We were talking about that earlier with their 200 amp hour battery. A lot of companies will go under the mark. There's like a limit, you know, when they say there's like a certain amount of spiders that are allowed to be in chocolate for it to be considered edible. Same sort of thing. There's a certain amount of like amps that you're allowed to put in a battery to call it 100 amps. You know, 95 is good enough. Well, they don't do that with Renogy. They go above and beyond, you know, 110 amps, 212 with their other 200 amp batteries. So they're going, you know, past the mark, not just the bare minimum. So pretty cool. Let's get these things. Oh, we got to look at this, and then let's get that solar panel up there. I'm not even disappointed. This is cool, but we'll really need to plug it in to look at it well. I was excited because if I don't want to mount it inside the truck, the box itself works as its own little case. That's cool. So this is the Renogy Core One, the One Core, and this works as a monitoring system if you don't have the app on your phone. Honestly though, if you have this plugged in, it also makes a Bluetooth, and you can check it with the app on your phone. So everything here, man, just has Bluetooth. The technology is awesome. This is like an inboard monitoring system, so I can mount it in my truck and just see what sort of output the solar panels are putting out, what sort of status the batteries are at all times whenever I want to walk in the truck, and just power this on and check. So this will definitely go up somewhere because it's just going to be the one I can see, the physical battery monitoring apparatus that I'll be able to check out. So pretty small. Here's the cord that comes with that, and you can see that just plugs into your positive and your negative battery there. So you just got to get it to positive and negative, and then that'll monitor the rest of that setup, and it'll should connect to that battery via Bluetooth. I may need the app to help do that though. Here's what it looks like when it's on though. So we'll go ahead and like mock install this and then do a Q&A, I guess. Wrap it up in like 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. Actually, I want to put this back on this box. It looks awesome. Cool, like that. So now I've got this larger 200 watt solar panel. That's one that I'm going to put on top of the truck here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the ladder out and climb up there. We'll try and get a look at how the brackets, how the mounting holes on the back of this work, because again, everything has come with its own mounting holes built in. It's super secure. On the roof though, I'm going to have to do something a little extra to make sure it's waterproof and extra secure. So I've got the ladder right here on me. Let me go ahead and put it up. Deep breath. Okay, so one of Renogy's coolest things is just like their simplicity. These are just made to be simple. Minimal wiring, made to be easy to add together and expand. So that to me just like is perfect for off-grid self-sufficiency. Buy some now, buy a few more next year. When they got the best deals of the year, right now is the best deals of the year. So make sure you check out the description for any links of any of these products into their website. Everything on their websites, almost everything on their websites on a deal right now, up to 55% off. One of the products I was reviewing is over 50% off. All of them are like 25% off, over or more, 30. Crazy deals. So right now is the time to do it. Get some stuff if you've been looking. You've got your typical solar connections here, your ground and your positive. They look weird like this because you don't hook them together, but they're hard to hook up incorrectly. Like if you've got two other wires coming here and you've got two that look like this, you can't plug the pointy ends together. So they look like that to make sure they're easy to connect, but don't hook the same ones from the solar panel together, or from the battery together, or the charger, or whatever. Anyways, here's the mounting surface on the back. Plenty of options. Nice sturdy aluminum bracket. And like I said, these are lightweight. We were talking earlier about how these have like maximum power tracking technology. This one has that as well, obviously. They have smaller solar panels. This one's 200 watts. They have 100 watts, 175 watts. So tons of different options. If you don't want one that's this big, if it looks like, you know, you want something that's a little more flexible or smaller to go in your car or whatever, your boat or your RV, check out their options. Just check out their website, and let's hook this up, haul this up to the top of that truck there. Don't fall over. If I fall over, everybody has to subscribe. Oh boy. Forgot about the snow. I guess I thought it would be melted up there already. I'll take the camera. I'll have to go inside to see if I can get a good view then. Okay, so there's snow up here. I only clean this off every once in a while. It's fall. I was gonna say, I think this can go in either direction up here, sideways or forwards. But what I'm excited about is just how flush that's gonna mount. That's obviously snow, but if that's on the roof of the truck, then that's gonna be nice and flat. Let's go inside and I'll show you how I would mount this up to these holes. See if we get any light coming through. No light coming through, but here's the inside of the truck. A lot of people are familiar with. And the solar panel is sitting like right there. So I've got these aluminum bars with plenty of room here. I can run some screws up through. I just need to make sure it's waterproof. And then I need to find out a way to get wiring down into here. And let's go ahead and bring some stuff in here and mock set up how we would have the power bank set up in here, how I can swap out that new battery, lithium battery, for these old batteries that always die. Okay. I'm gonna start like mock setting up some stuff in there. I'm not gonna be able to get anything working. Okay, let's do that last. This is cool because if I already have that set up there, that solar panel set up there, and all the wiring running into the solar charger and stuff, what's cool about like the Suitcase solar panels are, they're cool. You can just bring them with you to an already existing setup and add them into the setup super easy. Like that's one of the main designs of these. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this aside. I'm not gonna need it for right now, but if I ever wanted it, it's super easy to just add into the system if you already have a system. So here's the main charging station I'll have to look at. I'll have to get some wires. You don't want to run more than like 30 feet of wiring to any battery. That'll produce too much power loss. And you want to make sure you're using the right size wire at a minimum whenever you're running like batteries. Depends on how many batteries you have in your system, how many amps they're pushing. I'm just going to get some big thick gauge wires that are bigger than what I need, so I don't have to worry about it. And if I ever want to add batteries in the future, I don't have to upgrade the wires, but I'll have to grab those. I don't have all the wires I'm going to need today, but we'll go ahead and see how these would all look set in the truck. This one has a few holes. I can go ahead and set this into a place if we find a good place, and we'll put those batteries in. And then if we had any questions, leave those in the comments, and we'll finish off with some questions. Yeah, try not to get the background out of view. Okay, right, we just talked about that. I'll bring that small battery over in a minute. Let's go ahead and climb up here. Now, I have that Core One, that one core that I've got to put in here. I'm thinking somewhere like the door opens, so I don't want the wires to get in the way of like the door opening all the way. Comes to there, so I'm thinking the passenger sits here. You can maybe step out for a second and come back in. The passenger sits here. This is pretty accurate. Nobody's going to be really taller than this. In the back of their head reaches the top of this headrest, so I'm thinking maybe like up here. Nobody's head's ever going to reach there for that Core One. Let me grab that, and you can just stay looking right there if you want to. Now, I'm not afraid of using this because it's nice quality. It's not like some sort of like, if I put it in, I'm gonna regret it. And that says a lot because you have to drill a hole this big to install this. So if I do, mount this, I could probably build a bracket where I don't have to and just drill a small hole for the wire. If you want it to sit more flush, you drill a hole that big. Everything is perfect. Got a little bubble level built into it. I'm definitely gonna give that to my kid. He's gonna love that. It could definitely mount more flush if you want to do it your own way. But yeah, right there. So then anytime I come in, I can walk into the truck. There's a button on the side right here. Just hit the button, check out the status of my batteries. They should be charging all the time with the solar panel on the top. Every time I drive anywhere, park, just always charging. So that'll be something that I want to keep an eye on. Hey, let me use my tools. Let me run an air compressor off of my battery bank. It's going to draw a lot of current out of that 3,000 watt inverter, but it'll handle it. But it's going to need to charge it back up when it's done, and I'm just going to need to keep an eye on everything before I head to the next job or whatever it might be. So this is something I'm definitely going to use. Let's go ahead and grab some other things and figure out where they might go in this truck. You can wait right there. Okay, so I've got the inverter. It's about as heavy as those batteries. It's gonna have a huge coil in there though. Here's the remote for the inverter. That's why I brought this in this box. Just want to put it up. The remote for the inverter, then you know where that's gonna go. It's gotta be close to this. Maybe over here where it's less obvious. But I don't mind if it's visible. These are nice. They wouldn't bother me. Some products from other companies might be like not as nice. You would want to put them out of view, but I wouldn't mind having this classy little piece of technology in view. Okay, that brings us to the inverter. You can climb up here. And I'm gonna do this without destroying my back. Ah! Okay, I've got this. Here's what I'm thinking. You can probably come back here. I think I got the Wi-Fi close enough. I want to do some sort of shelf. If you stand right here, maybe better. Stand right there. Kind of like over here, there's one shelf. I have like a smaller compressor here that's battery powered. But I usually don't keep my tools there, and I have a box here. I usually slide my jacks right there, so that leaves all the space above the jacks right here wasted. So I think if I build some shelves, I'm all ready. It would be right here is what I'm talking about. Where this box is. So I have this cabinet here, but I normally have the jack slid right here. So normally there's just nothing here. It's wasted space, I feel like. So I think I'm gonna build some sort of cabinets, shelving right there. And then I could have this essentially chilling here all the time above the jack. The jacks would still take up the same amount of space. I'll just be able to use this. So to represent that, I could do this. See how heavy that is. Not heavy enough to bring the stool down. Okay. Boom, basically. And then I usually have both jacks like this. So imagine that is just on a shelf. I think that's where I want it to go. If anybody has any better ideas, you'll have to let me know. Let me slide this back so you can see better again. I have it out, it's my light holder. And let me bring up another product, you can check that out. Oh yeah, I forgot about this bad boy. It's not that heavy for a big battery, honestly. I think this would go great right next to that. Oh, this came with its own protectors. Where did I put that box? Oh, it's outside. I'll be right back. Okay, I feel better about that then, because this battery, this deep cycle battery itself came with these battery connectors. You can come closer to see these. Because I was worried about the battery's still active when it's charging. You know, it's only turned off when it's not charging. And it'll be charging a lot with the solar panel. Although they have overcharge protection, it'll stop them from overcharging. It'll just charge them as much as they need to, is basically what that's saying. And these little battery protectors make me feel better about putting this next to this. As long as I know nothing's gonna touch those, they're nice and isolated. I think that will look great. That'll go perfect on a shelf there above those jacks. And then I can have another shelf above these right here. Put some tools on that. A shelf right here. Like I wanna put, I think this is fireproof, a fireproof cabinet. I usually put like some batteries and stuff in here, like my jump boxes. Yeah, so I kind of just want to incorporate this, like some shelves. I want to get a locker so I can put some uniforms and stuff in here, some coveralls when I go on a job. So make this whole area look nice. And honestly, got a nice new power bank, so I can put brighter lights in here. That will help. Oh, it's dead. Classic. That's why, yeah, I wouldn't even have to rely on that if I have a nice power bank. So I could get some brighter lights. I could get some external floodlights. So when I'm working on cars at night, I can have garage lights and a canopy on the side of this thing. It shouldn't be long before it's running. You can see the motors. This needs to have a few things bought for it, basically. But it's in this place, just a little hollow. All right, you can look at that while I bring up this other battery and I'll compare it to these. Okay, so here's this vehicle battery. Again, it all the way up to RVs if you want all the extra battery protections, and this up to 60 protections. Let's come out here and look where this would go in comparison to these. You can look down at it from the top there is fine. Whatever way is best. So you can see this battery compared to this. It's about the same size. I could fit 2 in there, I'm sure. So, yeah, we'll see. Maybe I should try and get another battery that's the same size. And let's take one of those out. Let's do that as the last thing. Take one of those out and do a Q&A. All right, let's see if I can guess the size right the first time. Should have a light in here. I don't want to put that on top of this battery with the terminals on top. See if it's even in. I'm guessing 13 because it looks a little bigger than a 12, but it might be a 14. Or it might be a 12. That's what 13 is getting. All right, so should be simple to replace the battery. It's just like any other. Dead on. 13. All right, look at that, same size. Easy replacement. Okay, and then again, we can worry about a second one or isolating that battery and running it to a charger as just a lead acid or something. I'm fine doing that. We'll see how that goes later, but this fits right in that tray. Same tray, a little wider. Yep, just a little, you can see on this side. Let's see, there you go. Okay, so I can take the trays out or strap them. Or just cut one edge on the tray. Fold that back, honestly. It's just not made to grab on the bottom edge. Some batteries have a valley right there. This one's made to be strapped, so I'll just get a strap for it. Cool. That can set in there for right now, though. Be chilling while I wire everything up. That was fun. Still know, so probably plenty about all of those that I wasn't even able to say. It took a ton of time. All right, let's do a Q&A. I'll flop this camera around. Could you bring me that mount? Okay. Oh, I'll get it. Yeah, flip this light around. I got it, thanks. You can just set that down. All right, let's wrap this up. Perfect. Zoom this in a little. See if we got comments. All right. So let's wrap this up and do a little Q&A. This is the best time of the year to get this deal. So if you're waiting like for the best deal, Cyber Monday, whatever it is, right now is the best deal. There's an extra special live stream deal. So make sure you check out the link in the description for that. There's plenty of links. Almost everything on Renogy's website is on a huge sale right now. Up to 55% off. It's crazy. Their prices really surprised me. I'm really impressed by their products, and I'm glad that I get to put these in my truck. This is a brand I definitely trust and would recommend. I think this would be perfect for somebody going off-grid. When I built a bus a few years ago, I had a small school bus, and we lived out of that for like a month. Honestly, around Christmas time, we went back to where I grew up in Tennessee and Kentucky, and yeah, we just lived out of there for like a month. We had a bigger inverter than the one I had in this truck, but not as nice as this one, nor as big. And that really taught me the value of having a nice battery system that you can rely on, so your vehicle doesn't leave you stranded, and so that you can run all the appliances that you need. So I think off-grid living would benefit from this hugely. I've got that solar panel on my roof right now. I think people who work out of their vehicles could definitely use this. That's what I'm planning on doing. Getting a bigger air compressor that can run off of electricity now, not just battery powered, using some better air powered tools and just some more electric powered tools. Honestly, like some of those nut busters that make things super hot. You could put this on your boat. You could put it pretty much anywhere. Again, Renogy has some solar panels that are flexible, and they could fit anywhere you want them to go. Not just 200 watts like the two 200-watt solar panels that I was showing. They have 100 watts, 175 watts, all sorts of different types for different lifestyles. So that's going to wrap up the live stream. Thanks everybody for watching. Check out Renogy. It's totally fun to review these products, to show you about them, and to get them set up in this truck, figure out how I'm going to install them. You'll definitely see them in the truck. These are the ones I'm going to be using when I've got this thing running. These are great products and a great company. Again, started in the US, started in Louisiana, LSU, 2010. They've been around for a while. Definitely a company I was proud to work with. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Roadside Rescue. Those are some tools, some batteries, some chargers, some awesome products. Well done.